Latest NASCAR news. Watkins Glen just blew the whole NASCAR weekend wide open, and nobody was ready for what went down. Bubba Wallace and Christopher Bell had a moment on pit road after the race that people are still trying to figure out. And the real story behind it is not what you think. Then there's Cody Ware, whose crash late in the race raised serious questions that NASCAR still hasn't answered. And the standings? Van Gisbergen just changed the entire playoff picture in one afternoon. Drop a like if you're ready, because we're starting with Bubba. And his situation just got a lot more interesting than it looks. So here's what happened. After the Go Bowling at the Glen wrapped up on Sunday, Bubba Wallace walked straight up to Christopher Bell on pit road and started talking. And it wasn't exactly a friendly post-race chat. Fox and FS1 cameras caught the whole thing. Wallace was visibly fired up, using hand gestures, walking away at one point, then coming back to keep talking. Bell, for his part, stayed calm the whole time. The conversation lasted a few moments and ended without any physical contact, but the cameras made sure everyone saw it. Now let's talk about why Bubba was in that headspace to begin with. His race was a disaster. The 23 Wax Racing driver never found the pace he needed on the 2.45-mile road course, picked up just one stage point all day, and then, late in the race, got tagged by John Hunter Nemechek in Turn 1 and went spinning. He ended up 29th. Bell wasn't much better. The Joe Gibbs Racing driver spent most of the afternoon stuck in traffic and crossed the line 21st. Both guys had miserable days, so emotions were already running hot before they even got out of their cars. The internet immediately started doing what the internet does, coming up with theories. The most popular one pointed to a pit road communication issue late in the race. With about 8 laps to go, Wallace was told to pit while running ahead of Bell and Todd Gilliland. As they came through the Essies and hit the straightaway, Bell pulled up alongside Wallace. The theory was that Wallace's team didn't warn him fast enough that Bell was right there on his right side, which may have cost the number 23 car positioning at a critical moment. But here's where it gets interesting. Bubba Wallace's spotter, Freddie Kraft, hopped on social media pretty quickly after the clip went viral and shut the whole thing down. His message was simple. You shouldn't speculate. Bubba wasn't mad at Bell. So, according to the guy who was literally talking in Wallace's ear all race, there was no beef between the two drivers. The frustration was real, but it was about the result, not about Bell specifically. And honestly, that tracks. Road courses have a way of building pressure all race long, and when a day that bad ends with a spin and a 29th place finish, you don't always need a specific villain to be upset. Sometimes the race itself is the villain. Both drivers are key pieces of Toyota's program. They'll be back at it next week, and this kind of thing happens more than people realize. The cameras just caught it this time. Alright, but as wild as that Bubba and Bell situation was, what happened with Cody Ware might actually be the most alarming story of the entire weekend. This one just came out, and the NASCAR community is still reacting to it right now. With 9 laps left in the race, Cody Ware's number 51 car slammed into the retaining wall going into Turn 7. And it was not a light tap. It was a full, violent impact. The kind of hit that makes you wince just watching the replay. And here's the part that had everyone talking. No caution came out. The race stayed green, the leaders kept pushing, and Ware actually managed to limp his destroyed car back to the pits under his own power. He eventually finished 37th after completing 90 laps. The problem is that FS1's broadcast completely missed it. The cameras weren't on Ware when it happened, so most fans watching live had no idea until social media started circulating the onboard footage from inside his car. And when people saw that clip, the reaction was immediate. NASCAR journalist Joseph Strigley was one of the first to post it, writing that the hit was hard enough that it probably should have been a caution, and that it just wasn't picked up by the broadcast in real time. What really drove the reaction was what the wall looked like afterward. Motorsports writer Austin Kanensky posted a photo showing the Armco barrier literally caved in at the point of impact. The metal was bent. People were genuinely shocked that a hit hard enough to deform a steel barrier didn't stop the race. Fans across social media couldn't understand how that didn't warrant a yellow flag. NASCAR insider Jeff Gluck addressed it on his podcast, The Teardown, and gave what's probably the most honest explanation available right now. His read was straightforward. NASCAR's officials likely saw Ware continuing to move after the crash and made the call to keep racing green. In their logic, if the car is still moving, the driver is okay and the track is clear. Gluck did admit that if NASCAR had seen the full impact live, the decision might have been different. His exact words, "He kept moving, so I guess that's why they kept the race going." It's a reasonable explanation, but it doesn't fully satisfy people when you see what that wall looked like after the fact. Ware walked away fine, which is the most important thing. But the conversation about how NASCAR monitors and reacts to off-camera incidents, that one isn't going away. Yeah, that crash was something else. But here's the thing. While all of that drama was happening on track, the standings were moving in ways that are going to matter a lot when playoff time comes. Let's break down exactly where everyone stands. Shane Van Gisbergen had one of those days that reminds everyone why road courses are his playground. The Trackhouse Racing driver started from pole, dominated for most of the afternoon, then watched a late green flag pit stop drop him all the way back to 26th. Most drivers don't recover from that. Van Gisbergen isn't most drivers. He pushed through traffic, passed Ty Gibbs with 8 laps to go, and pulled away to beat Michael McDowell by over 7 seconds. First Cup Series win of 2026, 7th of his career, and every single one of them has come on a road or street course. He also won here last year, so Watkins Glen is basically his house at this point. Now let's talk about what that win means for the standings, because it moved things around in a real way. Tyler Reddick is still the man at the top. 567 points, 5 wins, and a 129-point gap over second place. That kind of lead through 12 races is not an accident. The 23 Migs racing driver has been the most consistent performer in the Cup Series this season, and he's not showing any signs of slowing down. Behind him, Denny Hamlin holds second with 438 points, and Chase Elliott is third with 422. Ryan Blaney and Chris Buescher round out the top 5. Further down, Ty Gibbs had a strong showing. Finishing third helped him climb to 6th with 372 points. Carson Hocevar is 7th at 342, Kylie Larson 8th at 332, and Brad Keselowski 9th at 318. Bubba Wallace, despite his rough day, is still 10th with 313 points. The most interesting name in the standings right now is Van Gisbergen himself. That win jumped him to 16th with 283 points, which puts him right on the playoff cut line. The Chevrolet driver went from fighting for relevance to sitting exactly where he needs to be in one afternoon. With 24 races left before the playoffs lock in after race 26, the cut line battle is already getting intense for the drivers sitting between 13th and 20th in points. The series heads to Dover next for the All-Star race, and after a weekend like Watkins Glen, drama, a scary crash, and a standings shakeup, the momentum is fully in play heading into the second part of the regular season. Look, Watkins Glen gave us everything. Driver beef, a scary crash that shouldn't have gone without a caution, and a standing shakeup nobody fully predicted. Van Gisbergen is dangerous, Reddick keeps rolling, and Ware's crash deserves an answer from NASCAR. So, do you think that caution should have been thrown? Let us know below and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.